it's me, John Chesley, and it's Sunday afternoon Bible story time, and I'm ready to get up and get going. All right, Chesley, I know you are, because I've been in that trunk and I'm sick of it. Oh, you're sick of the trunk? Well, you're out of the trunk, so you don't even have to worry about it 1 minute longer. I feel like I'm falling down. No, you're not falling down. I'm just trying to get us a little better situated. This story is called Elijah's Fast Trip. Elijah's fast trip. Now, Chesley, can you tell us a little bit about that? Well, there was Elijah and Elisha. They was they twins? No, they weren't twins. No, but Elijah was a prophet that had been very faithful to the Lord, and there was time that come that the Lord had let him know that he was going to die. He was all scared and shook up. No, he wasn't all scared and shook up. Just let's see if we can move over just a little bit here, just a little bit more, so we're both in the picture. Well, actually, they were wanting to see me. Well, I know that, Chesley, but I need to be over here. I just, we need to be right here together. Because are you scared? No, I'm not scared. But Chesley, we are. I didn't sing my song. This gospel train is chugging the train, chugging the train, is chugging the train. This gospel train is chugging the train, chugging to the glory land. Get on board this gospel train. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Get on board this gospel train. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And Chesley, we're going to see Jesus in the promised land, the glory land. That's where he will be forever and ever. We'll be just having a great time, worshiping and praising him. Yes, worshiping and praising him. There's nothing like it, and there's no sin, and there's no devil. It's just a glorious, wonderful place. Now, Elijah, back to Elijah. He had been a prophet for a long time, and he always did good things, and there was healings, and who could get healed? Anybody that would come to him. That was who the man of God, the Lord had chosen him. He was the prophet, and they was the one that didn't help the people. That's right. He was like a spokesperson for God, and God still moved, but he used people. He would tell them what to do and how to do it, and they got things done for God. They got things done for God. And Chesley, there was a time came that Elisha was going to be succeeding him, because how's he going to do it? He don't know what to do. Chesley, he has been following along there for all these, no telling how long, he'd been training under him. And he went everywhere he went, and he was just chasing him around. Well, he didn't chase him around, but Chesley, he was like he was like his trainer, and so he was learning from him. Did he learn how to pray? He learned how to pray. He saw Elijah pray, and so he learned how to do what he did, just looking at him. Chesley, he had to have his own experience with the Lord. He couldn't just look at him, and what all did he do for him? Chesley, he waited on him. I think he wanted to be with him all the time. He wanted to see how he learned from God, and how he got the instructions from God to help others. So he was with him all the time. Was there anyone else? Well, Chesley, there was some more sons of the prophets, and you know what they did? They was watching too. No, Chesley, they would just stand off and look, and they would say, "Look at Elisha. He always wants to be with Elijah." You know what? Because he wanted to learn. It's right, he wanted to learn. And Elijah's told him, "You're going to be succeeding me," because he was going to die. He was going to die, but he said, "So I'm going to help you," and he said, "I'm going to teach you everything I know." That's what he was going to do, teach him. And so Elisha was just standing around and gawking around. No, he wasn't gawking around. He was a good student. Oh, and he loved Elijah, wanted to be with him and learn everything he could. And so, how old was he? I don't know how old he was, Chesley, but I know this. There was all those sons of the prophets. They could have learned something too, that he wouldn't do it. They were standing off. And they would ask him, "Why are you doing this?" and all. Why come? Probably wanted to come and go with them places. But he was getting his lessons. He was learning his lessons. He was getting those lessons, and the Lord was blessing him and helping him so much. Because Elijah took it serious, because he wanted to know what to do, and he had to step in. He didn't know when it was going to happen until now. The Lord has let Elijah know that I'm taking you to heaven now. Taking you away. And so it was something, it didn't kind of scary. It might have been, but yet it was an exciting thing. And so here, as they began to that they were walking along, and the sons of the prophets, they found it, word was out. It was clear in the word that in the Bible that others knew. So Elijah didn't keep it a secret. So he's on there, wondering, when's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? What did they say to Elisha? Well, they told Elisha, your master's leaving. Your master's leaving. He's leaving. He's going to die. He's leaving out. And so, what Terry, did he cry? I don't know if he cried or not. I don't think he did. He just made sure that he was with him at all times, that he didn't miss anything. He wanted to learn. He just, any questions he had, I think, yes, Chesley, I think any questions he had, he wanted to ask, because this was the day that he was going to take it away, and he didn't know when. And so that's what he was being very careful to be with him. But the sons of the prophets, they would just taunt him, and he didn't let it stop him. He did not let him stop it. Chesley, this is important. There are other people that they don't want to walk with the Lord. They don't want to talk about the Lord. They don't want to read their Bible. And they want to keep you from doing it. That's right, too. And they'll think, well, why are you doing that? And you know what they'll say? You can do it later when you're older. They may say that, but Chesley, now is the time to start. Just like I think Elisha, from a young age on up, whenever Elijah started training him, he was a good student. He was a good student, Chesley. But here now the time comes where, Elijah had to test him now. And he said, now I know, that I know that what the Lord wants me to do. He said, you stay here. He said, here's what you do. He said, you stay right here. And said, I said, the Lord has sent me to Bethel. And Elijah said, it's not happening. That's what Elisha said, I'm going to go with you. He wouldn't have it any other way. So he wanted to be with him. He wasn't taking a chance in missing every opportunity he had to be with him. And you know one thing, he loved him. Yes, he did. He loved him. It's probably almost like an uncle to him, that he really loved him. And so, he said, well, okay, if you won't have it any other way. So then as they walked along, and finally it came a time, and he said, well, he told him, said, I'm going to have to do, said, the Lord has some other place for me to go, and said, this is the next place that I'm going to go. He said, so I'm going to Jericho. He told him to stay. He told him, you can just stay. He said, no, I won't leave you. And every time, it was like 3 or 4 different places that he said he was going. And every time he said, you just stay here, and the Lord wants me to go to this next place. He wouldn't do it, because he can go on this, his opportunity. Every opportunity he had to learn, anything he could, anywhere he went. Something I think some people might need needs along the way. Chesley, it could have been people in those different towns needed things. That could have been one thing that it was, is that he would be there and he could see how that the Lord used him. It was something, it was really good for him. Every time that Elijah would tell him, would you just stay here? He wasn't going to do it. I think he was checking him out. He was checking him out to see, is this young man going to really be the one that's going to be for the people? Is he going to seek God? That's right. Is he going to seek God? And he thought, he's heard me pray. He's seen me pray, and did he do his own? I think he did. I think Elisha prayed. When Elijah prayed, I think everything that he did, he tried to learn to do those things, and he was just mimicking him. Oh, he wasn't mimicking him. No, he wasn't just saying it because he said it. He was seeing the things that the way he did it was the way God, he heard from God. Well, it came the time that, they come to Jericho, and or they came to Jordan, and how then, what happened there, and he had that mantle. He had the mantle. That's right, Chesley. Elijah had the mantle. He took it, and he wrapped it up, and he hit the waters with that, and that's when that water parted, and they walked around on dry ground. That's right, Chesley, how the water parted there, as the Jordan parted, and they walked across, and there was the sons of the prophets over there, and they was looking from afar off, and they would just look at them, and they come to him, they ran up to him and said, don't you know, Elisha, he's leaving you. You better come on back. He's gonna die. And they would just taunt him like that. But he wasn't about to leave. And Elisha said to him, you've been so faithful. You followed me. And now he had a question. He had a big question. He said, you know what? You've been following me so faithfully. He said, ask what I shall do for you before I'm taken away from you. And Elisha said, well, I would like to, what did he want? Chesley, he said, you know what? I want a double portion of your spirit. That part, that how you get in touch with God, and how you're faithful to God. That kind of a relationship with the Lord. He said, I want a double portion of that. Is he being greedy? No, he's not being greedy. You know something else can happen? Well, what else can happen? Well, Elijah and they say, who do you think you are? You want to be better than me? Oh, Chesley, he could have felt like that, but he didn't. He wasn't a person. It wasn't all about him. It was all about God. That's right. It was all about God. Chesley, this is the way Elijah said, this young man doesn't want just a little bit. Then he wants to do great things for God and God's people. That's right. He wants to do great things for God's people. And all he said, because he's going to be following after me. Now I'll be leaving very soon. And so he said, you know what? How's he going to do it? He said, you know what? You've asked a hard thing. He said, nevertheless, if you see me when I go, it will happen. Oh, how did he know it? Because God, he was walking with God, and I believe the Lord impressed on his heart, and he knew that it could happen. And so that's what he told him. If you see me when I go, that's the only way. And so he had to be watching, and I tell you what, he didn't even blink his eyes. I imagine he didn't even want to blink his eyes. That's right, Chesley. But let's see what happened here. Can you read it straight from God's word? I can read it right here straight from God's word. He said, you've asked a hard thing, but he said, nevertheless, if you see me when I go, he said, I'll tell you what, it will happen. But if you don't, it won't happen. He said, and it came to pass as they still went on and talked, that behold, no, all of a sudden, what happened? All of a sudden it said, there appeared a chariot of fire. Oh, it's scary. I'm leaving. No, Chesley, you're not leaving. I'm scared of it. Chesley, it's not here. Well, there appeared this chariot of fire and horses of fire and parted them both. They separated the two of them, and Elijah went up by a whirlwind. I'm reading it. He went up by a whirlwind, Chesley, into the heaven, and Elisha saw, and it was something how he went up. Elisha saw that, and he started crying. Well, he yelled out and he said, my father, the chariot of Israel, and the horsemen thereof. And he saw him no more. And he took hold of, he had a mantle that he had wrapped around him, and he ripped it in two, because Elijah had dropped his. Elijah had dropped his mantle, and what he was dropping it for, Elisha. Oh, Elisha said, I don't need nine. I need this one now. Was it magic? No, it wasn't magic. It wasn't magic. But it was representative of that. The request that he had asked, he had seen, and now here had come the mantle that Elijah had, and he said, and he was going to get what he had. It was a double portion of the Spirit. It was a wonderful time. So now he said, this is the test. And the sons of the prophet, no, what was he doing? Did they run away? No, they didn't run away. They had been staring and watching and seeing what Elijah is going to do now. He's kind of scary. It was a time that was kind of. I'm sure it was kind of scary, but yet he was going to get what he had asked. If he saw, he had seen, and so he wrapped that up, and he struck those waters, and when he did, they didn't do nothing. Oh, yes, they did, Chesley. Those waters parted, and there he walked through, and when the sons of the prophets, they didn't get nothing. They got nothing, because all they wanted to do was just stare and or maybe gossip. But they never did really want to get in touch with God. Oh, Elijah's fast trip, just like that. And you know what they said? The sons of the prophet, they said, you know what? They said, the spirit of Elijah does rest on Elisha. It didn't need sense. That was the only sensible thing they said, because after that, they came and they bowed down to him, and they said unto him, you know what now? We have 50 people here that are ready. I said, you know what's happened here? They said, the Spirit of the Lord has taken him up and cast him upon some mountain or some valley. And he said, no, he didn't. He went to heaven. He was taken to heaven, yes. But instead, they said, well, maybe he dropped him somewhere. No, God didn't drop him. He went to heaven. Yes, he did. That's exactly right, Chesley. But these fellas, you know what? They just wasn't in tune. They was just, Chesley, they weren't in tune. They were just walking off. They was always afar off, and they was just gossipers, and they was just to, just to hear the latest news. That's right, the latest thing that was going around. And they said, let us go and check it out. We got 50 guys that will check it out. Well, I think they took like 3 days, and when they had come back, and they said, they'd looked and they looked, and they said, we couldn't find him. We could, and Elisha said, I told you you wouldn't. That's what Elisha said, didn't I tell you not to go, but you insisted on going. Elisha was a man that did not go with the crowd. And he stood there and said, Chesley, that's it. He was the only one. But all of those others, they just wanted to stand around, and what was the latest thing going around? They wanted to talk about that. They didn't get anything from God because they didn't, I don't think they served God. I don't think they served God either. But Elisha didn't go with the crowd. He followed God, and he saw victory after victory after victory. And because he prayed and God led him. He prayed and God led him. Chesley was wonderful at the ways he could help people that had needs. And they would come to the prophet because that's what they're supposed to do. That's exactly what they were supposed to do, was come to the prophet. And he was the man of God that had been praying and seeking God, and God getting the answer. Oh, something else. One day we're going to take a fast trip. One day we're going to take a fast trip to heaven. Those of us that love the Lord and serve him, when it comes our time to die, I mean, tell you what, it's going to be a fast trip to live in heaven then forever and ever. Oh, Elijah's fast trip. Oh, I love it. I love this story, Elijah's fast trip. And I love, Chesley, about Elisha. So it's not just one person can go to heaven. It's all that love the Lord and serve him with all of their heart. Chesley, I love this story. Yeah, I tell you what, it's a true one. It's a true one. And right now there's a true one, is that you need to go to bed. You need to go to bed. Chesley, you need to go to bed. Aren't you sleepy? No, I'm not sleepy. It's neither tonight, because let's just tell another story. No, we're not going to tell another story. You tell everybody goodbye, and you look forward to seeing them next Sunday afternoon, the Lord willing. I'll see you next Sunday afternoon, and I'm not going to get sleepy, and I don't, Chesley, you're stalling. All right, now let's just get you all fixed up here and have your medals all fixed here that Kai gave you. Make sure you're all looking good. And so until next Sunday, the Lord bless you, keep you, we love you. Look forward to see you. Next Sunday afternoon, I'm going to be here. I'll have a nice frog hat on. You're going to wear your frog hat, all right? We'll have frog hat on. All right, we'll see you all. We love you.